America is not what it once was. I've got some bad news for people who don't travel internationally. The world hates us, okay? We're not the big dogs. We don't have the clout that we once had. We aren't even like statistically on top of anything, education or anything anymore.
Let me tell you guys something with absolute certainty. The US empire is crumbling from within. People act like the last empire that fell was 1,000 years ago. No, it wasn't. It was Soviet Union just 33 years ago. And before that, it was the British Empire that fell some 60 years ago. The downfall of the US is very near. And when the US empire crumbles and falls, Israel is going to go with it. And they have played a crucial role in bringing down the US. So celebrate that.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren
and I'm Maureen.
Right, so in today's episode we are going to be reacting on videos of palm-colored people who are having a meltdown on the internet. Why is this happening? Because they're only just waking up and realizing that what the black population have been complaining about for centuries and years is now coming to pass.
Right, you know, when black people used to complain about this stuff, they were never taken serious. Instead, the palm population and other people of color would tell black people, why don't you work harder to give yourselves a better lives? Why don't you do this and that? Until this situation has finally hit them as a population. It's also affecting them. It's affecting them and it's affecting everybody across all boards. Now they're coming out here to make noise, and yes, their noise is being heard. Yeah. But guys, what are we talking about? Let's watch this video and then we come back and talk about it. Please leave us a comment on what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you are new to our channel. Let's watch.
So I think we can all agree at this point that the US is in serious decline. I've talked about it from the standpoint of education. I've talked about it from the standpoint of economy. You could talk about it from the standpoint of just about any way that we meet people's needs in this country. People are not getting their needs met. It's hard to say when this decline started. I think you could say that it even started in the 1970s, but I think it became apparent in 2016 when we democratically elected a right-wing demagogue, which is what countries in decline do. And I've been pretty clear since about last summer or so that my continuing to stay in this country is a choice to go through a very difficult time in history. And I also understand that the choice to stay is itself very privileged.
And I thought it was the UK that was on its arse. Seems like these Americans are really fucking struggling with the cost of living crisis. Check this video out. Tell me it don't break your heart. How can someone earning $80,000 a year be struggling to live? This is fucked.
Made, and we are literally the brokest we've ever been. Brokest we've ever been.
But I'm making the most money I ever had my entire life. My husband and I, between the two of us, gross, make like over $80,000 a year. And if you told me a few years ago that $80,000 a year was not going to be enough for a family of four.
I make more than what I made back in 2015. But I am still literally living paycheck to paycheck.
I have to work 60 hours a week and make $80,000 a year to make ends meet. That's insane. I can't even begin to wrap my head around it.
Financially, I don't understand anymore. I don't understand how I make $34 an hour and I can't function. I can't function. I can't pay my bills.
I don't know if y'all be reading and paying attention to the news, but the economy is in a terrible spot right now. I mean, you got major retail stores that are closing up hundreds of locations just this year. You got Walgreens closing over 150 stores. You got Macy's closing over 100 stores. Foot Locker closing over 400 stores. CVS Pharmacy is closing 900 stores. Family Dollar closing 600 stores. Rue 21 closing 540 stores. I mean, the list goes on and on, from Best Buy, Dollar Tree, Express, even Walmart is closing down 7 of its supercenters. On top of that, you have the major layoffs, like Google done already laid off almost 12,000 people. eBay just laid off 1,000 people. Microsoft just laid off 1,900 people. UPS just laid off 12,000 people. Like, bro, it's only May. Even Tesla is laying off over 10% of its entire workforce. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Apple, a company that's worth $2 trillion, is closing 400 of its retail locations this year. I couldn't even tell y'all what all of that means because truthfully, I don't even know myself. But if you anybody like me, you will find it ironic that it's all happening at once. But y'all let me know what y'all think.
I've traveled a lot internationally. Over COVID, obviously, I stopped. And there's always been an underlying tone that America is dangerous. But you know, we run Hollywood, so a lot of the media that is consumed by people in other countries is still American. However, I'm on my first international trip since COVID, and it has gotten worse. I have heard from every nationality that America is dangerous, but I arrived in Indonesia, which is a country that, you know, a lot of people aim to get out of and go to America. And the first thing that my taxi driver says to me is that he's afraid of America because of all the poppy seeds that we're taking and all the jazz powder that people are using. And he's convinced that people are walking around the US like zombies. Because that's what's on the internet. That's what these people are seeing. And I think it's a really big lesson if you are sheltered and are not leaving the US. We don't got it. Like, we don't got it anymore. People don't want to live in America. People aren't eager to live in America. When I was in Europe, a lot of the kids said their parents wouldn't let them go to America because they were afraid they were going to get popped by the police. Like, those are the fears. The only fear that Americans have when their children travel overseas is that they're going to be like in the movie Taken, which is a very small possibility. And they just use that as a fear. I don't even like, that's not really even a founded fear. People aren't taking Americans when we go, because you know how big of a hell case they would raise if some little white girl went missing? That's not what's happening. But what is happening is other people from other nations are going to America and bad things are happening to them. So, just a reminder, we ain't shit. We ain't shit.
I left the US 8 months ago, and something that shocked me is that nobody likes America except for Americans. And even a lot of Americans don't like America. When I learned that people have no interest in visiting the US, I was shocked because I thought, isn't the US one of the best countries in the world? But I think that's what they teach us in the US. People think Americans are loud, disrespectful, unruly, obnoxious, pretentious. One of my European friends said, you know, I typically refuse to hang out with Americans, but you're all right. When Americans come to Japan, they're usually shocked that Japanese people don't speak a lot of English at all. And they'll say, why don't they speak English? But you're coming to someone else's country where they speak their language. Why don't you learn their language if you want to visit their country? For some reason, we also have to measure everything differently. Feet, inches, miles, pounds, Fahrenheit. When everyone else in the world uses meters, kilos, and Celsius.
For those of you that don't understand how truly awful the US has become, I'm going to put it into perspective for you. I saw my aunt yesterday and she told me a story that absolutely blew my mind. And it's really hard to tell me a story about the evil that America is right now that surprises me. But this surprised me. It's on another level. So my aunt is a realtor and she had a client in the past that she sold a second farm to. He is a farmer and he raises cattle, making an honest living, and so his original farm wasn't big enough for all of his cattle, so he had to get a second farm. And then his wife got pregnant and then a medical emergency happened. So basically, the baby was born extremely prematurely and the wife almost died, but that's a separate issue. And so I want you to guess. I want you to formulate a number in your head about how much you think it cost for that baby to be in the hospital for 4 months because it was a premature baby. Take a minute, think about it. $900,000. Almost $1 million. What small business owner, farmer has $1 million? So now he has to sell his second farm, he has to sell some of those cattle, and for what? So his baby could survive. America, right? So pro-life, huh?
And I guess I'm making this video partly as a caution and partly as a call to action. As a country declines, there is this pattern of insane concentration of wealth, and those who own the wealth start to engage in a lot of corruption in order to keep the wealth going. And where there once was order and maybe some facade that there was not that much corruption, that is all gone, and the people who are in the middle and the upper middle economically start to get swallowed up by the wealth inequality. And the typical reaction of people who are supposed to have privilege in the society is that they will fight very hard to maintain that position. And so my caution is to let you know that we are not at that place in history where we elect a different representative. We're at that part of history where we rewrite the way that government works, the way that education works, the way that economy works. It's a much bigger change. We're waiting and holding on while this current thing crumbles. We're not building anything. And for those of us who are more privileged, it is time for us to let go of our privilege and some belief that we are supposed to have more money than the people who are marginalized in our society. One of the ways that marketing gets at us is that it throws the wealth inequality in our face and tells us that we need to pretend that we have more money than we have. And most people are just going around pretending that they are in okay financial shape.
In most other countries, people work 6 or 7 days a week, and they're usually working 10, 11, 12 hours a day because that's what it takes to provide for your family. Whereas here, instead of telling people that you can work more and get a better lifestyle, people are conditioned to thinking, here's the only amount of work that I'm going to do. I'm not going to work outside of this 40 hours, and I need my lifestyle to continue growing. How does that make sense? How does it make sense that your ambition does not match your needs or your wants?
Hey, what's up, America? Stores going away because nobody has any money. So for the last 5 or 6 years, you have seen nothing but retail stores, food places, and all kinds of shopping locations go out of business nationwide. Thousands upon thousands of stores are now gone. Now, a lot of people blame Amazon. Recently, a lot of people blame not having any money to shop anywhere. And in reality, it's both of those things, also corporate greed as well. But now that all these stores across the country are starting to close, and next year we're going to have what's called a retail apocalypse, I have a question for everybody. What are you going to do in this country when you effectively have no retail business or general business of any kind because it's all been closed? So what is this country going to look like when there's no malls, no retail stores, everything has to be delivered? Hell, even the grocery stores are going to go away. So there's going to be less choice, less places to shop at. Those locations will have less products. They'll have the shit that makes them the most profit, of course. And it's just a general overall degradation of the country. Now, I know back in the 90s and 2000s, you probably thought this day would never come, and you probably thought this day would be awesome when it did come. Hey, there's going to be no malls and no retail and no stores. This is going to be great. We destroyed capitalism, right? But now that all that's going to be gone, what's fucking left? Nothing. Nothing's fucking left because that's all America was. So you got rid of all the retail and all the stores and all the profiteering only to leave the companies that are left making the most profit and having almost no choice now because it's all gone. So instead of 10 box stores, you have 2 or 3 to choose from. Instead of 100 food choices, you have 10. Instead of 12 pharmacies, you have 2. So do you see how this is not good? In your effort to try to destroy the world and bring in a new form of American socialism, you've destroyed the nation totally. Eventually, this place will become eventually this country will turn into a better functioning Soviet Union where you'll have just as many choices. You like brown shoes or black? Those are your choices. Which state-controlled pharmacy or state-controlled grocery store do you want to go to? I don't know about you. I liked it better the way it was in the 80s and 90s. This shit sucks, asshole.
So guys, I feel like it really speaks a lot for a specific demography of people to have to get up to speak in order for the entirety of America to listen. Because when black people say these kind of things, nobody usually bats an eyelid. And you know, there was one palm-colored person on TikTok who was saying, if you want to know what's coming to America, or if you want to know what will or is happening in America, go to or listen to black people when they speak, because what they say eventually usually ends up happening anyway.
Right now we're in a situation where this is something that is affecting everybody. It's that something in America has changed and something is coming. You know, those who have traveled outside the country, we've heard from the speakers themselves, they're quite surprised when they go to other countries and they feel like
they have been living in a bubble of lie and just going outside. And I feel like sometimes maybe the government makes it a bit harder for its citizens to go out of America because they
don't want their lives to be exposed.
Yeah, they don't want their lives to be exposed. They know when their citizens, both black, white and brown, when they go out of America, they might find something else that works outside of America.
Yeah, another surprise that came as a shock for them is when they go outside the country and they ask people if they'd like to visit America, and everybody they meet right now is saying, most people they're saying they don't want to go to America because of A, B, C, D.
And I found the most interesting answer to be, most people said they don't want to go to America because they don't want to be pew-pewed by the police. You know, and I found like that was very interesting because I remember our first incident of not wanting to go to America, because we always wanted to go to America while growing up as very young kids.
Live there right now, maybe I just like to go
there and visit someone or somebody's or people or places, but going to live there, not anymore. So one time also when we were growing up, I feel like it was in high school when I realized where I am, I can make greener grass from where I am,
and because
because in America we saw how they were so oppressive towards melanated people, and how melanated people could just be pew-pewed without any reason. And I feel like right now with TikTok has really exposed a lot to the world. That's why people don't want to go to America. And how can America change this as a government? Just simply by retraining their police officers.
Instead of working so hard on the PR game that they market, how they market their country, why not do the actual work, you know?
Yeah.
Why not do the actual work? And then another thing that surprised me that I feel like we have to mention and discuss is the fact that right now someone earning a salary of $80,000,
not somebody,
$80,000 per year,
is somebody who's struggling.
Guys, that's a lot of money. That should accord somebody to live comfortably. You understand what I'm saying? But because America has gotten to where it has right now, imagine someone who's earning $80,000 a year and is struggling. How about someone who makes less?
Yeah.
Because of homelessness is really becoming a problem in America, to the point where some states are criminalizing being homeless. So what do you want people to do? Why not improve on your policies?
Right. And I feel like to some extent the government is being deliberate about pushing people into poverty, because at the end of the day the 1% want slaves that do not talk back to them. And what is the best way to take the whole population of America back to slavery?
It's like
economically enslaving them.
Yeah, like at this point we are walking into a factory reset type of, you know, factory reset, where you go back to the drawing board, you go back to the baseline, and you start underlining new rules and policies on how things should work.
And you know, I usually feel like, of course, this is what I'm about to mention is strictly for entertainment purposes. I'm entertaining a thought, right? What if let me not mention the person who is in orange jumpsuit. Everybody knows him by now, right?
Orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, the one who's been trending because he was aligning himself with a particular CEO who isn't with us anymore in America. So what if, guys, because all this is the doing of the 1%, let's not hide it, you see? So what if everybody in America, it doesn't matter if you're black or white, just work together to identify this 1% and
leave it there?
No, wait. No. I'm not saying this is strictly for entertainment purposes. Identify each and every business they own, and just, you know, don't be traitors amongst each other, guys. Just choose to boycott their products, choose to boycott going to their workplaces, and until they're able or willing to give you a better deal for working for them or consuming their products, just simply don't promote them. There are still a lot of growing businesses out there that need that kind of support, rather than you keep going to work and they're underappreciated. You know, it's all I'm saying.
But at the end of the day, America is looking like we are starting to talk about it in the past tense, in terms of America used to be the place where everybody wanted to visit. America used to be the place where everybody wanted to go and live and work. You know, but right now it's when they talk about failing empires, we've seen other empires that have fallen, right? And America right now is at the brink of that.
And you know, looking at this whole situation, Britain was once there, and right now it lives like second in command to America. Which else country was this that was once there too?
The Roman Empire was normal. It's normal.
Yeah. And still here in Africa was the reign of Mansa Musa. He was the richest man in Africa, and he had a say in a lot of things. He is not there anymore. So what we are simply saying is, what I'm observing from all of this is, you see the kind of, it's not peace totally, but compared to America, you see the kind of peace that Britain is experiencing right now for being second in command. Sometimes they usually say being first place is not always the good thing, because it's exhausting, because all focus is on you. You need to do this, you need to make that decision, you set standards, you know. But maybe if America finally falls, its people will get to rest, because now the government won't have to be sending aid to ABCD and, you know, skipping its citizens.
The question is, how is it going to go down? You know the saying that they normally say,
go down the easy way.
We are going to do this the easy way or the hard way. So when you look at Putin on the, you know, Putin is right there, Israel is right there, you know, all these countries, China, you put them all together and you're asking yourself, because somebody has to take the top dog position. And America isn't going to give it up easily.
And also, they usually say, these leaders who lead these first world countries, most of them have pride. So they're not just yes. So America is not just going to walk over that throne to another country as it takes a back seat. So guys, let us know your thoughts on this episode. What do you think about this episode? Also consider subscribing if you're new to this channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.